Hey everyone, John here, and welcome to the next episode of Dinosaur 10, the show where we count down 10 facts about your favorite dinosaurs. Today we look at Carnotaurus, a dinosaur that has become iconic because of the two horns on its head. Other than that, what do we really know about this dinosaur? Let's get started and count down 10 facts about this unique dinosaur. Number 10. Naming. The name Carnotaurus is derived from Latin, with carno coming from carnis, which means flesh, and taurus coming from Latin taurus, meaning bull. Put it together and you get Carnotaurus, the flesh-eating bull, which makes sense because that's kind of what Carnotaurus looks like. There's only one species of Carnotaurus named so far, and that is Carnotaurus sastre. Carnotaurus' specific name, sastre, honors the owner of the ranch where it was discovered. Number 9. Discovery. Carnotaurus was discovered by Jose Bonaparte in 1984 at a ranch called Pocho Sastre in La Colonia Formation in Argentina. This expedition was part of a project called the Jurassic and Cretaceous Terrestrial Vertebrates of South America, sponsored by the National Geographic Society. One thing that was special about this discovery was that the skeleton was very well preserved. Most of the skeleton was still intact, and there were impressions on the rock that helped paleontologists learn a few things about Carnotaurus. Number 8. Scales or feathers? One thing that has been heavily debated in recent years of dinosaur study is feathers. There is mounting evidence that many dinosaurs, particularly theropod dinosaurs like T-Rex and Velociraptor, had feathers. Most of the evidence is backed up by impressions in rocks made by feathers. With modern technology, paleontologists can even tell what color these feathers were in some cases. As I mentioned before, the Carnotaurus skeleton found in Argentina was very well preserved, and there were impressions of the rock. However, these were not impressions of feathers, but impressions of scales of different sizes. This showed that while many carnivorous dinosaurs may have had feathers, Carnotaurus was not one of them. Number 7. Home. Carnotaurus lived during the Cretaceous period around 72 million years ago. It lived in what we now know as South America. By looking at La Colonia Formation, you can get an idea of what Carnotaurus' habitat looked like. There were many fossils discovered there. Most of the reptiles discovered were terrestrial and freshwater turtles. Then there were plesiosaur remains. Other dinosaurs discovered here were various sauropods, which were the large herbivores with long necks, and hadrosaurs, which were the duck-billed dinosaurs. Putting these creatures together, we can learn from the plesiosaurs and the turtles that Carnotaurus' habitat did contain large bodies of water, most likely an estuary. We can also see that the sauropods and hadrosaurs may have been Carnotaurus' dinner. Number 6. Dinosaur Family. Carnotaurus comes from the family Abelisauridae. The Abelisaur family contains many bipedal carnivorous dinosaurs that have horns or other types of ornamentation on their heads. Abelisaurs filled the roles in prehistoric Africa and South America that tyrannosaurs filled in North America. They were some of the more larger and dominant predators of their respective areas. Where there were large prey items like sauropods and hadrosaurs, there will also be large predators to feed on them. Number 5. Size. If you or I were to see a Carnotaurus in the wild today, I'm pretty sure it would be an overwhelming experience. This dinosaur would tower over us easily, and be as long as 2 cars lined up bumper to bumper. Carnotaurus was 30 feet long and weighed about 1.5 tons. Most of us would consider that to be pretty large, but let's put it into perspective. T-Rex was about 40 feet long and weighed about 20 tons, and Spinosaurus, the largest carnivorous dinosaur discovered so far, was 50 feet long and weighed 23 tons. So, compared to them, Carnotaurus was a lightly built predator, and really fit the category of a medium-sized predator. Number 4. Eating. It's pretty obvious that Carnotaurus ate meat, but what specifically did it go after? A lot of predators become specialized as they evolve over time. Some dinosaurs have conical teeth and a long snout that allow it to snatch fish out of the water. Some dinosaurs have serrated teeth that allow it to slash at large prey. Some dinosaurs have flexible jaws that help it catch smaller prey. What does Carnotaurus have? Carnotaurus had a strong skull that can withstand the forces that are exerted on it when trying to latch on to larger animals. Basically, it could use its jaws as a club with teeth and bite down and tug at prey, inflicting multiple wounds and weakening it until it eventually goes down. Number 3. Fast runner. Carnotaurus could probably run very fast, probably faster than most large theropod dinosaurs. Why do we think this? You have to look at the hips and tail. Carnotaurus's tail vertebrae were arranged in a way where a pair of muscles called the cauda femoralis were able to be larger than any other theropod dinosaur. These muscles were responsible for pulling Carnotaurus's legs back as it ran. The larger the muscle, the larger the force it exerts, and therefore the faster it can run. The downside? To make room for these muscles, its tail was very rigid, so it had a hard time turning. So, it could run fast, but if the prey could weave and dodge, Carnotaurus would have a hard time. Number 2. Short arms. Carnotaurus had the shortest arms proportionally of all carnivorous dinosaurs. I mean, just look at these arms. They make T-Rex look like a power lifter. But jokes aside, let's look at Carnotaurus' arms. The forearm is roughly 1/4 of the size of the upper arm, and the 4 digits are directly connected to the forearm. If you want to visualize this for yourself, imagine that you had no forearm at all, and that your hand was directly fused onto your elbow. So basically, Carnotaurus could not use its arms. This suggests that Carnotaurus' arms were vestigial. That means that Carnotaurus' ancestors had arms, but as they evolved, the arms became less and less developed. Number 1. Horns. Lastly, we get to the horns. The horns are pretty special. They distinguish Carnotaurus from pretty much any other dinosaur, and they really gave Carnotaurus its name. But what were they used for? Head ornamentation in dinosaurs could serve all sorts of purposes. Some use them for fighting, others for display, and the list goes on. It is possible that Carnotaurus used its horns to butt heads with other Carnotaurus. Its horns and neck were strong enough to absorb the force of 2 Carnotaurus colliding. It's also possible that they did not ram into each other. They could have also used the horns to push each other slowly. Some scientists have also proposed that Carnotaurus used its horns to kill smaller prey, but this is less likely since other predators don't really use their horns to hunt. But there's always a first time for everything. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a few things about Carnotaurus. For this video, you've been looking at the Schleich model of Carnotaurus. I'll put a link from Schleich's website on the description below if you're interested. Be sure to check out jonatthezoo.com as well as jonatthezoo on social media. Links are all in the description below. So, what do you think about Carnotaurus? What dinosaurs would you like to see featured in Dinosaur 10? Leave your comments in the comments section below, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you at the zoo.